Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Rishi Harinan and C News is live at noon. Topping the news at this time, 2 men are dead following an early morning incident in Alto Street, Gonzales. The victims have been identified as Atiba Thomas and Trevor Wilson. The killings took place at around 4 o'clock. C News understands Trevor was taken by masked men who then took him to the home of Atiba. They asked Trevor to call out to Atiba, and upon him coming outside, the gunmen then shot both men before fleeing the scene. We'll have more details on this story when it becomes available. Dozens of convicted sex offenders who were in the U.S. illegally were arrested on Long Island by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers in a 10-day operation. Among those arrested, a 45-year-old Trinidad and Tobago national. ICE says those arrested who have outstanding orders of deportation or who returned to the U.S. illegally after being deported may be deported immediately. The others remain in ICE custody awaiting hearing before an immigration judge or until arrangements are made for them to be deported. The 45-year-old citizen of Trinidad and Tobago was convicted of third-degree rape of a victim incapable of consent and sentenced to 5 years in probation supervision. This level 1 sex offender was arrested in East Hampton on July 29 and will remain in ICE custody pending removal proceedings. To some other news now, the Contractors Association is warning of a slowdown in the construction industry across the country and the possibility of further job losses. This after it was revealed there is a shortage of red sand. President of the association, Ramloganda Reinsing, told us, without the red sand, the building of walls and other projects will not be able to be completed. The construction sector contributes to about 5% of the country's GDP, and with this shortage of red sand coupled with the current economic challenges facing the country, things may become tough.
What it means for contractors is that construction projects will be slowing down because the access to red sand, because we use red sand for different purposes. We use it for plastering, rendering, and also to put up blocks and that type of thing.
Sand is ordered directly from the quarries. However, there are some who purchase it from hardwares. This is done mostly in Tobago.
There are hardwares. I know for a fact that in Tobago there are hardwares which supply red sand because they send the red sand over to Tobago, most of it in bags. So it's not only Trinidad it's affecting both Tobago, because if you cannot get the red sand, everyone is affected.
Mr. Rupnarayan Singh could not say how many sand quarries there are, but did note that only one is operational. He said it seems as though the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries is trying to regularize the process of getting sand. He noted the sooner this is done, the faster the problem will be fixed.
Because what they are saying is that they don't own the land. They need to get license from the mines and resources. So the thing about it is that the faster that they regularize this process and get the sand pits open, sooner we'll be able to alleviate this problem.
Quarries fall under the purview of the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. Commenting on the matter, Opposition MP Dr. Rudal Munilal blamed the current scarcity of the construction material at the feet of the minister, noting there was no proper initiatives to address the shortage. Well, we did try to contact the Minister of Agriculture on this matter. However, calls to his cell phone went unanswered. The General Secretary of the Communication Workers Union, Joseph Remy, says the march through Port of Spain last Friday did accomplish what it was supposed to. That is to get people who were silent on the issues facing the country to speak out. This after several stakeholders spoke out against a call made by union leader Ansel Roger to boycott the 1%. In a statement, AmCham said it believes such statements are very divisive and not in the best interest of the very workers that are represented by the unions. It said protecting and promoting the rights and best interests of their members can only be done through dialogue leading to constructive solutions. Meanwhile, the Employers Consultative Association says such a call cannot be seen as a reasonable, responsible or rational course of action. The ECA said using boycotts as a means to treat with the issues articulated by the labour movement, inclusive of retrenchment, is counterintuitive and is not an effective solution.
AmCham and them were very silent all the time. They have come out now of their shell. And we are happy that they are now joining the debate about how we could fix the society when workers were under peril, when 4,000 workers were retrenched all along. I heard not one single word from AmCham and the EC and all of them. But now we only speak to the issue of boycotting business. and they all come off of their shell. I'm happy that they are outside now. I would like them to stay outside so we could continue this debate to see how we could fix Trinidad and Tobago.
Mr. Remy also weighed in on calls from the Prime Minister and others for the labour movement to return to the National Tripartite Council. He said if this is to happen, many things have to be done differently.
That the labour movement have been trying all along to find a space to work with successive governments in terms of fixing the society. And every time you come on board and you do something, they go against what are the fundamental principles, and they betray the cause and the purpose. And thereafter, when the labour movement take a particular position, we are the ones who are condemned.
Mr. Remy was speaking on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago. This is the C News Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. The private sector representatives on the National Tripartite Advisory Council say they remain committed to the tripartite consultative process and remain ready to take part in all constructive dialogues and debates. In a statement, 5 chambers said, the economy of Trinidad and Tobago remains a highly vulnerable state and urgent concerted action is needed by all stakeholders to ensure that they can put the country onto a more sustainable path for economic and social development. Well, the Oilfields Workers Trade Union is not happy with talks it had with the Minister of Energy, Franklin Can. Both parties met this morning. According to the OWTU, this is to continue discussions on state-owned Petrotrin. The meeting between the OWTU and the minister took place at the ministry's head office in Port of Spain. And our reporter Ian Wason was at the ministry this morning, and I understand he spoke with one of the stakeholders, and he is on the line to let us know what was said. Good afternoon, Ian.
Yes, good afternoon. Of course, I spoke with the leader of the OWTU, Anthony Roger. Coming out of the meeting, he said he was not all that happy with what came out of the meeting. In fact, the minister, Franklin, can has to go back to Parliament, to the cabinet, and get back to them after. Now, the OWTU leader says that what is of really concern to them is the structure of Petrotrin. And for example, he said that there are lots of positions at the management level that there are no need to, but those that are really needed, those who are in the fields, who are actually producing the oil, they have a lot of vacancies there. So those are some of the issues that he has. And of course, as I mentioned, the government, the minister has to go back to Parliament.
All right, thank you very much. Ian Wason, our reporter, just giving us an idea of what was said in the meeting or what was said by the union after that meeting with the Minister of Energy. Well, to some other news now. The International Women's Resource Network is appealing to people to desist from using social media platforms for private postings. This call comes in light of the recent leak of suggestive photos of a female Special Reserve Police officer on social media. The IWRN said whilst the reasoning behind the posting is still under investigation, the organization is strongly condemning such acts which have been regular occurrences in different jurisdictions. The IWRN said these postings usually come from vexatious places where the parties involved feel cheated and or hurt for some reason or the other. The organization further warns that such actions are filled with the potential for lifelong hurt and emotional scars that are usually difficult and or impossible to erase. A San Fernando woman has been reported missing. According to police, 36-year-old Tamira Alexis was last seen at her Tarode Hills San Fernando home at around 10:30 p.m. on August 6, 2017. She was reported missing at around 9:10 p.m. on Monday, August 7th by her son. Tamira is of African descent, 5 feet 4 inches tall, medium built with a dark complexion and shoulder-length hair. Anyone with information is asked to contact the police. And well, some good news as police have found 15-year-old Jaden Pollard. The 15-year-old was reported missing on August 4th, 2017. The police is thanking all for their assistance in finding the teen. Now for the weather, this afternoon should be mostly sunny and hot with a slight haze. Afternoon showers may follow along the hilly and western areas. Some areas may see heavy thunder showers. Gusty winds, street and or flash flooding in the vicinity of heavy showers and or thunder showers. Seas are slight with waves up to 1.5 meters in open waters and near calm in sheltered areas. The University of the West Indies Open Campus is looking at the means test for GATE as an incentive to have students follow up on their application. Program Director Roger Watts says many times after the application goes through, students do not follow through on their claims, putting the institution in problems. According to Roger Watts, the means test introduced by the Ministry of Education for GATE funding will ensure students complete the application process.
A lot of people took their GATE award, which is government-assisted tuition, for granted and never followed up on a lot of the requirements of each semester, making sure that their grades are submitted, yes, their application status is approved.
As a result, the institution is given the burden of making the payment.
So a lot of GATE claims remained unprocessed and unapproved, and the institution will be left carrying the financial burden because we have operating costs. And we put out a lot of money to hire tutors, to run programs, and therefore we see the GATE policy as really an incentivization for students to follow through on their claims and not take for granted that the money is there and it's just a walkthrough. So there's some responsibility on students to follow through.
He explained how the payment will work at UE Open Campus.
Typically, if a course costs $1,200, we're asking students to pay $400 for that course while their GATE claim is being processed. And if their GATE claim via the means test determines that they have a full scholarship, then that $400 would either be reimbursed to them or put towards their scholarship.
Mr. Watts was speaking on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago. The National Council of Indian Culture has contracted Southex Event Management Company as the marketing consultants for the 2017 and 2018 Diwali Nagar events. Southex manages the Chutney Soka competition. In a joint release, Southex said it has been tasked with the duty of looking for new opportunities to generate revenue through unique corporate partnerships. They will also be looking at creating new spaces for the advertising and marketing of the event. Southex has more than 25 years' experience in the trade show and entertainment business. The Diwali Nagar, which attracts crowds in excess of 300,000 people over the 9-day period, will run from Monday 9th to Tuesday 17th October 2017. The Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago says all security measures at the Piarco and A&R Robinson International Airports are consistent with best practice in accordance with civil aviation regulations. This comes in the wake of a video circulating on social media which shows an altercation with a member of the public and Airports Authority police in the terminal building at the Piarco Airport. In a media release, the authority said the aviation industry is a highly regulated environment with respect to security matters. The authority said it complies with standards and recommended practices set forth by the International Civil Aviation Organization and the Trinidad and Tobago Civil Aviation Authority. The Airports Authority said all security screenings and detection units employed at the airports are fully functional and perform in accordance with local and international regulatory requirements to ensure that the facilities are safe and secure at all times. There is an urgent need for action to be taken in the fight against diabetes, as it has become the second most common cause of deaths in the country. This from Secretary of Health, Wellness and Family Development, Dr. Agatha Carrington, who gave the feature address at the formal opening of an inaugural children's diabetes camp in Tobago.
Persons with diabetes per capita in the Western Hemisphere. Indeed, it appears as though we are the diabetes capital of the Western Hemisphere. It was revealed as well that diabetes was the second common cause of death in Trinidad and Tobago.
This is why the THA has embarked on a Healthy Eating in Schools project.
Take into account one secondary school and 4 primary schools so that we can work together with the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy to bring about or improve the lifestyles of our children. We think if we start the promotion, the health promotion, disease prevention in our schools, we will have greater success when persons become adults.
Carrington said that the ultimate have all schools involved. and the Trinbago Knight Riders made it 2-2 against the St. Lucia Stars in the 2017 edition of the Caribbean Premier League. However, this was not despite a batting scare. Captain Dwayne Bravo won the toss and sent Darren Sammy and his men into bat. TKR looked regular, or they took regular wickets and managed to restrict the Stars to 118 for 9 in 20 overs. Bowling for TKR, Kevin Cooper took 3 wickets for 21 runs from 4 overs, and skipper Bravo took 2 for 33 in 3 overs. The Stars' batting was anchored by Andre Fletcher, who made 40, and Darren Sammy, who made 25. In reply, TKR got off to a blistering start when Sunil Narain made 11 from 7 balls, including a 6, and Brendan McCullum 19 with 3 sixes. However, the next 4 batsmen didn't stick around too long. At one point, the score 75 for 6. However, young Pakistani Shadab Khan showed maturity far beyond his age, and together with Javon Searles managed to steady the batting and took TKR to 120 for 6 to win the game. Khan ended with 30 not out and Searles 27 not out as the Trinbago Knight Riders won by 4 wickets and making a winning start to their 5 home games at the Queen's Park Oval. Football now, and he's a flying officer in the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force, as well as the manager of their football club. Now Ryan Otley is trying to add another title to his collection, that of president of the TNT Superliga. Otley's main campaign promise is to make the league more sustainable and profitable for both clubs and the governing body.
We want to bring sustainability to the clubs. We believe that once the clubs are sustainable, the league will benefit from this type of venture. In so doing, we want to bring business, we want to bring opportunities, we want to bring FIFA, TTFA, Super League, Pro League. We want to bring that system of promotion and relegation together and afford the business in terms of the clubs, the communities, the opportunity to showcase their talent by working together.
With the possibility of a conflict of interest if he wins the election, Otley assures that he will recuse himself from any arbitrations or disciplinary procedures that the Defence Force may be involved in. Otley also has a passion for the development of the sport in Tobago, something he believes is badly needed, which will benefit TNT at all levels. It's something that he hopes he can change if elected.
So what we intend to do is that we tend to work closely with Tobago, especially to make those clubs sustainable. It's unfortunate that we don't have a Tobago club at our first level of football in this country. And we want to ensure that clubs in Tobago have that opportunity by working together, working with them, providing the same opportunities through business, through community interaction to provide sustainability in Tobago with the clubs.
Staying with football, and it's a highly anticipated clash between 2 of the region's big boys as Jamaica Reggae Boys come to test the Warriors on August 24th. The big friendly is set for the Hazley Crawford Stadium from 8 p.m., a venue which has hosted some of the most heated battles between the 2 countries over the years, with both having their fair share of success. The match will also set off a budding rivalry between coach Dennis Lawrence of Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica's former Mr. Football Theodore Tapper Whitmore, who took his team to the finals of the CONCACAF Gold Cup recently before being edged by the US. The game comes at an opportune time for the Warriors, who are set to resume training on August 14th, 10 days before the Jamaica clash, which will help the team's preparations for the 2 crucial World Cup qualifiers against Honduras on September 1st at home and then in Panama 4 days later. There is a move ahead to make this an annual event to celebrate the independence of both countries, with Jamaica celebrating theirs on August 6th and TNT on August 31st. We move back to cricket now, and former West Indies head coach Otis Gibson appears on the cusp of a switch to a familiar role as the head coach of South Africa's team. But the current employers, the ECB, is expected to demand a compensation payment from Cricket South Africa before they will consider allowing their contracted bowling coach Gibson to leave. Gibson is contracted to the ECB as England's bowling coach until the end of the 2018 season, and while both parties have agreed to not make a final decision until after the current series is over, it seems likely that the Bajan-born Gibson will make the switch. If he does take the South Africa job, it will leave England looking for a new bowling coach ahead of the Ashes tour. Well, that's it for sport. Well, that's how we end the C News Report at noon. I'm Rishi Harinanan. Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Have a good afternoon.